Yo, what's going on, guys? Chili Philly $, and today we got Jackrabbit and Big John with us.
Thanks for having us, Chili. Pleasure to be on, talk some Clash Royale, new card ideas.
Thank you, Chili.
So today we're going to discuss some new card ideas that we have. Would you like to start us off, Jackrabbit?
I'm going to go first. All right. So my first card here, we have the Battle Machine. And I want to add more champions in Clash Royale. I think that champions are the evolution of Clash Royale. This is how the game is going to evolve for the future. So I think the only reason that that champions are broken is because of the 3-card cycle. But
3-card cycle is a crazy concept.
But if everyone has it, then it's not necessarily broken. So I want to add more cards.
It becomes a game mechanic for everyone.
It becomes a game mechanic. I like the ability idea. So we'll do the Battle Machine. Battle Machine has the health of a giant and only targets buildings. On the building itself, it'll only do double the damage that an Ice Golem would do, so it's useless on its own. But if you use the ability, it will use the Electric Hammer and do a fireball's worth of damage within 2 tiles of the unit. So you can either choose to support the Battle Machine as a tank, or you can use the ability and do like a 1-troop Wrecking Crew. So, Chili and Big John, do you have any thoughts?
So what would you compare this card to, if you had to give any comparison?
Well, you use it like it's basically a giant, but the giant still has a viable place in the game because the troop itself does more damage. You don't have to waste elixir on doing damage. Whereas the Battle Machine would do more damage, but you have to commit elixir. You can't support the Battle Machine. So you have to make this.
It's an interesting concept. Would you like to go deeper in on how the ability works?
The ability, very basic, 1 elixir, and as the hammer strikes, it has more or less the same radius as a fireball, so you're essentially getting a fireball's worth of damage for 1 elixir.
Is it on top, directly on top of the troop, or is it?
Yeah, directly on top of the troop, and then it hits within a 2-tile radius
from all sides.
Troop, from all sides of the troop itself. Air will not be targeted though.
Interesting. Don't think it's a bad concept.
Big John, any thoughts to add?
No, I like everything that you said. That's a really good troop that you have, and I think Clash Royale needs to apply that.
All right, would you like to add your second, Jackrabbit?
Second card, another champion. We're doing the Heroic Hog Rider.
Hog.
This troop, 5 elixir, and this card looking to add a new mechanic to Clash Royale itself. This card can jump anywhere over the river. You can place it in the middle, and it will jump. Doesn't need to cross the bridge, anything like that. But it targets only the King Tower. So with this, 500 damage per hit, and overall this would take the Heroic Hog Rider 13 hits to fully destroy the King Tower. Has about 1 1/3 the health of a regular Hog Rider, and for the ability, it's 2 elixir, but you heal 25% of the troop. So, but I think this card will make cards like Firecracker more viable, because most people don't use it, but because of that King Tower activation. But if your goal is to destroy the King Tower on its own, then it gives the Firecracker a place to add on to that King Tower damage. Or like Heroic Hog Rider Graveyard, do that.
So how many hits would it take to destroy the main tower?
13.
13
so
hits?
That's about 1 hit every 20 seconds or so.
Every 20 seconds. Interesting.
I like the statistics.
It would definitely be a game changer for sure.
Yeah.
It would definitely make a lot of cards. It would make a lot of decks change. And it would make a lot more buildings more viable, for sure.
But it was still cool. And then real quick, a quick rework, Minion Horde. I think it should spawn like Royal Recruits, because it is way too easy to counter as all 6. There are so much splash that can kill a Minion Horde. So if you do like recruits, you can still aim it that 4 minions go to one side, but it makes that card a bit less punishable. Because there's very few positive elixir trades you're gonna get with a Minion Horde. Like you can Fire Spirit and the Minion Horde's dead. You can any spell, Minion Horde's dead. There's no reason to use the Minion Horde right now.
Yeah, the Minion Horde has been a dead card in Clash Royale for a while. I don't know. I don't think it's such a bad idea. The Heroic Hog, the game needs to change every once in a while. The Heroic Hog would definitely be a game changer. I think the only broken concept is if the heal ability.
That's why it's two. That's why it's 2 elixir.
It's 2 elixir, but if it goes up 25%, and how fast is the speed?
Then maybe 20%. The speed is only fast, so it's 1 level slower than the Hog Rider, so it can't just jump right to your King Tower.
So per second, do you know the?
I don't know per second. I don't know per second.
Okay.
But overall, if the heal is too much, then knock the heal back to like 20%. But it's hard to do an ability on like a Hog Rider kind of card because it doesn't target troops. But if you then heal it 20%. If you heal it, the Hog can get 2 extra swings if left undefended.
Do you think that the Hog Rider would become obsolete if you had this card introduced?
No, because you could still attack one of the side towers and win 1-0. Because the side towers have less health in general.
Yeah.
Plus with the heroic Hog Rider, if you just place it down, you have 3 towers targeted. You have both Princess Towers and the King Tower.
Would you get this troop at level 14?
I mean, in my world, I think everyone should have access to champions, period. But if it's going to exist,
Agreed.
If it's going to exist as it is now, then yeah, like
Level
it's going to be level 14. But that's more because that's how the game is.
Yeah.
As opposed to my personal preference.
I agree.
Yeah, the heroic Hog is not a bad concept for a champion. All right, for my first idea, I think the spike trap would be an interesting concept in the game. I know the game doesn't need more defensive type troops or buildings, but imagine if it was about a 3 elixir card, and it had on each side, right on you're crossing the bridge, there's just little spikes that do probably, I would say, about a little less than half damage to a musketeer.
Okay.
So in a realistic world, it's not doing too much, but it provides both lane defense for a cheaper elixir cost.
It's both lanes.
It's both lanes. It would go in both sides.
All right.
So the elixir could definitely go up or down.
Well, what's it right now?
3 or 4. You can't realistically go any lower than that. And if it does that much damage, but it would hit anything that walks over at the same time.
All right. So I have two questions first for this card.
Go for it.
Would air cards target it? Could it distract air troops?
No.
No.
It's a ground troop only.
And now would it if a unit gets stuck in the trap, does it break when a unit walks into it, or does it hold it like a little freeze?
It could hold it for about 1 second to 2 seconds at the most. I'd say 1.5 would be the most realistically.
And then what happens?
It breaks.
Okay.
So it would definitely hold for at least.
So it holds and then breaks.
But once it breaks, I would have to say it would have to break on both sides to make it realistically a balanced card. Because if it was still on the other side, or it would only have to last a certain amount of time, about less than a building though. It'd have to be pretty much a last second defense there. Not too sure if it would be viable or not, or it would break the game, or even be a good card.
I agree that if it didn't break on both sides, it would break the game, so you could stack them over and over again.
Well, no, that's when the time frame comes about. That's why you say 20 seconds at the most. It couldn't be anything more. It couldn't be 30 seconds like a building.
If it's 20 seconds, then I wouldn't have it break on both sides when just one breaks.
Okay, then you could have one remain on the opposite side. But it's only for 2 tiles when you're crossing the bridge.
What meta do you think will be viable for your new card?
It would definitely alter a lot of ground decks. It would make a lot more air tanks more viable.
Okay. So like a Lavaloon.
So like Lavaloon. Lavaloon is really the most classic air deck in the game right now.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's using that like above mid ladder, so anybody's using it.
Yeah, Lavaloon's one of the most popular decks in the game right now. So it would only enhance that.
Would the Hog Rider hit it? Like, would it swing and hit so the Hog would get stuck in the trap?
No.
Or would the Hog take a swing at it?
The Hog would not take a swing. It's not like a target. It's just like you get stuck.
So
and it just breaks after the fact.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
So it's not like a cannon. It's not like a Tesla. It's not like any other building in the game.
So like no one targets it. You just
It's not like a
walk
target.
into
You
it.
walk. It's a trap.
Alright.
It's like almost like how the Tesla pops out of the ground. It pops
Okay,
up.
so I'm
to
assuming
spikes.
those spells you can't spell the trap away.
Correct.
Alright.
Unless it's above ground.
Unless it's above ground.
So then like log and arrows, even.
Okay.
But earthquake, you wouldn't really earthquake that high up. You know what I mean? Like it could.
Yeah, it would have so low health that the earthquake almost wouldn't be worth it.
It's definitely wouldn't be worth it.
Okay.
All right. For the next idea I have is the Dark Spirit. So the Dark Spirit, in a sense, is just like the Dark Prince.
Okay.
For the shield aspect, at least, not for the charge or anything like that. It would probably have the same amount of hit points as a guard with the shield, and after that, it would. If you broke the shield at the bridge, it would not connect to the tower. So if you logged it at the bridge, it would not connect to the tower like a fire spirit and ice spirit would. But the fact is, it's more of a defensive unit, I would say, for like a prince charging at your tower. It would take the initial hit like a guard would. And while the prince is going in for the second hit, it would then splash onto the unit.
Big John, anything to add before I go in?
No, you can go in, Jack. I'm still thinking.
All right, Jackrabbit's going in here.
I think so. I do. I mean, just as a player notorious for playing cheap cycle decks, I like the cheap cycle cards. I wish they had like 15 spirits, like a spirit that could do like a spirit version of everything. I think it just.
Oh,
it
we're
just
going to get
helps-
into that. We have some more spirit ideas.
Spirit
later
ideas.
on.
Yeah.
And that's good because I think it helps speed up the game. I like the defensive utility of it because it adds like just a bit more strategy to it because you're not, it's like Fire Spirit at the bridge is pretty blind play. It's very easy to do.
Well, the fire spirit used to do as much damage as a fireball. I'm not quite sure if it still does.
I
but I know
don't think it does.
it does a
Yeah,
little bit less,
yeah.
I think, now. But it does still like 200 damage, I believe.
So I would say would the Dark Spirit kill minions?
No.
Like the fire, so it wouldn't kill minions.
It would leave him not an ice spirit. I'm not sure. It takes him about not a third of the way down, right? It takes like a 1/3 off of their health.
At least I know the Princess Tower has
It
to
would-
finish them
it
off,
would
but
be-
the Fire Spirit gets rid of them immediately.
It would probably take minions down to half health. So I guess technically the tower would probably one-shot them.
All right, I like it because it's kind of like a alternative to skeletons, in a sense. It's a one elixir troop with a bit more defensive
Capabilities.
capability and purpose. Its whole purpose would to be blocking one shot of anything, and then you would get that little bit of damage.
And right, as to where the skeletons would not connect to the tower, this would, in a sense of the defensive capabilities. Not when its shield's off.
Yeah, because you can still Dark Spirit at the bridge and get that chip damage if you wanted the chip damage. All right, you're 2 for 2, Chili.
All right, Big John, would you like
Alright.
to
In my
share any
opinion.
ideas?
So my idea is I think we need more spells in Clash Royale.
Spells, interesting.
I like it.
Because we only have freeze, poison. What else? Rage. So my spell would be invisible spell. So
The invisible spell.
Yeah, it'll cost 5 elixir. You can throw it down anywhere, and whatever troops in the area will go invisible for at least 4 to 6 seconds. But the one thing, if you use like a fireball or a log, the troop will reappear. So you got to use it smart. So that's my idea.
Interesting.
So is it like a shield? Is it like the Dark Prince shield in a sense, where once it gets hit, it reveals itself? Like the troop reveals itself?
Yeah, I didn't want to make it too broken. You know what I mean? Because if you use a log, I don't want it to phase through. It's like a royal ghost. You know what I mean? If you hit it,
Okay, so
Or-
not like the Dark Prince shield.
Yeah.
It's
And they
more
when
like
they turn. So what if your troop is still in the vicinity of the spell? Do you turn invisible again?
Or does it, once it's out of the spell range, does it become visible again?
That could be true too.
Yeah,
I feel
once
like
it-
that
once
would
it's
break
at-
graveyard
yeah.
a little bit.
once it's out of the spell.
So how many tiles would you guess
Ooh.
the spell would be?
Probably the same as like a freeze.
It's like 4
Yeah,
or
like
so.
4, 5.
Okay.
Oh, you know.
So could you use the invisibility spell on offense? If you did
Yeah.
graveyard invisibility, so it would turn opponents' troops invisible. Because then this, like, the graveyard wouldn't target, like, the Valkyrie or whatever is put down.
No, I don't think you could.
I don't think you could do
I
that.
don't
So you can
think-
only
yeah,
have to
yeah,
only use
yeah.
it on. But could you still, then you could still use it on graveyard because then all your skeletons are invisible.
Yeah, I would say you can only use it. I would say you can only
But then
use
if
it
you
for
lob-
offense. Because if you're saying, like, if you put a cannon for defense, you can't make it invisible. You know what I mean?
Ooh, that's a
That would
whole
hurt.
different
Yeah,
thing I didn't
that's a
think
whole-
of.
yeah, that's a whole
Graveyard, that would be a broken
Yeah,
spell
that's
for
a
graveyard.
broken spell,
That's an
yeah.
automatic tower.
Unless,
Yeah, I don't
unless,
thi-
but unless you keep the log. Like, if you can still spell the troops, you can still log the graveyard on defense.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say if you use.
I like where you're going with that because
Yeah,
it's a different way to get troops to retarget other troops besides electricity.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
The
Yeah.
only
Because
thing
you
is, I
could
feel like everybody would use the spell once they figured out the proper meta.
I don't think
for
that's
it.
a bad.
It's not a bad
though.
idea,
It's-
no.
yeah, it's a-
I don't
I think it would
bad.
have to be a lot smaller of a radius, if that makes sense.
The cycle.
And
will
you
be-
probably couldn't use it on a tower, if that makes sense either.
I mean, the cycle will be different. You know what I mean? Like you'll have more people will start using logs, more people will start using arrows. You know?
I mean,
or
theoretically,
fireball,
you think,
rocket.
you think you think rocket would take a big hit there, and a lot of people would switch to invisibility
Well,
because invisibility could take towers pretty easily if you think about it.
So what if you just made it like 2 seconds instead of? I think 6 is a lot.
a lot. You think?
Six-
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's enough time for someone to walk to the bridge.
Yeah, no
to
spell
the-
lasts 6 seconds.
To the
Yeah.
tower.
All right. Yeah, 2
How long
seconds.
does a poison last?
I would say 4 to 5
Yeah,
seconds.
yeah, I feel like
Yeah,
a poison.
the-
A poison's really long. So, yeah,
I would do 2 seconds.
yeah.
Almost
two-
make it like the
max
clone.
3. Max 3.
The real question is, does this affect air cards as well?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
It does. So any troop you're placing, go invisible.
Do the invisible troops? Do the invisible troops attack like defending troops, or do they go right for the tower?
What do you mean?
Like, so if I placed a Valkyrie down and it was
Okay.
walking onto your side,
Yeah.
I place my invisibility spell. You place a Valkyrie.
Mm-hmm.
Whose Valkyrie targets whose?
No, yours. Only yours.
So would mine continue to walk to the tower until yours
No,
interacted
it-
with mine, or my invisible Valkyrie would still interact with your
Yeah,
visible
it would
Valkyrie?
it would still
It's
interact.
in the same mechanics
Yeah.
as like a Royal Ghost.
Yeah, it's the
the same
same
mechanic as
same
Royal
mechanic
Ghost.
as a Royal
Unless
Ghost.
unless it's like a giant in a sense, where
Yeah.
it just goes straight for the tower regardless.
I don't know. I like it because it reminds me of Rage. It reminds me of Rage. You can support a push with a spell as opposed to another card. It's a different way to play offense.
That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like we just need more spells. In
Yeah,
the
we
game.
need different play styles because
Yeah.
everyone likes to copy the same decks.
Yeah,
over and
it's
over
always
again.
always the same decks. Log Bake, Lavaloon, Hog Riders, Hog 2.6,
Giant Skelly's everywhere
Yeah,
right now.
Giant
Even it's still
Skelly.
got the nerf, it's still broken.
E-Giant, you know what I mean?
Does the Royal Ghost take damage from the giant skeleton bomb if it's invisible?
Yes.
Yes.
It does?
Yes.
All right, Jackrabbit, would you like to go in for your next idea? Oh,
Actually,
Big John's gonna go back in.
Second card.
Oh,
It's
my
gonna turn.
second card. You skipped my turn.
Sorry, Big John.
It's all right. It's all right. Philly. So my second one is a mini rocket.
A mini rocket.
I mean, a mini balloon.
Mini
rocket
balloon.
balloons.
Mini
Cost-
rocket balloons.
Costs 6 elixir. So it's a swarm of 3 mini balloons. It moves faster, slightly faster than balloon. Than the balloons, but it throws down slower bombs. It's pretty much a balloon, but it's just mini.
So to do the same amount of damage as a balloon.
No,
No, you
slightly
can't do that.
slightly lesser since it's thrown. It's
And what's
throwing
the,
down?
And what's the health on this?
I'm not too sure. I don't know. What's the regular balloon health?
It can survive a rocket. So like that.
It survives a rocket with maybe 2 tower shots.
No, it'll get destroyed by a fireball, or a
All
fireball.
3 of them.
Yes, all 3 of them.
How do they spawn?
So yeah,
Like, could you split them?
you can split. It's like the.
I think you would have to.
It's like the electro.
The zappies.
The zappies.
Zappies.
Yes, the zappies. It's exactly like the zappies, but
Interesting.
mini rocket balloon.
What's all right? So what's the rocket aspect of it?
It just moves faster than a regular balloon. That's why I say
Alright.
mini rocket balloon. I'm basing it off Clash of Clans.
Is that a Clash of Clans troop?
Yep, it's a Clash of Clans troop. So I got my inspiration from that. So I think you need more air troops.
All right, Chili. Any thoughts?
I don't think it's a bad idea. I think it would be an interesting concept to add to the game. It's almost like a. I don't know how to. It's not like a Zappies like card, but it's like it's split. Like I feel like it would be most commonly split in the back compared to put it at the bridge because if it's countered by a fireball, then
I feel like it'll counter defense a little bit better. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. So if you're
it'll do more damage to buildings.
Yeah, if you defense like a cannon or inferno, you can split it, but it's
but
like
yet again, the only there's only a few like minor loon cycle. There's only a few decks like Lavaloon. Like you could replace it with that. The only thing is it would be more of an air deck. Associated card.
Yeah, strictly air deck.
Which there's nothing wrong with that, but
if you want a faster cycle for for like a Lavaloon deck, use mini rocket.
Mini rocket,
Yeah.
it definitely gives you more value.
Yeah.
And it's another thing to fireball rocket.
I really like that because I think
I like the three aspect, the three troop aspect.
I like the aspect in which you because like I'm not gonna say Lava Hound here because like you support the Lava Hound, but the only win condition you really play in the back is like the battle ram to get the charge. Maybe the Ram Rider, but that's like because of defense, not for the offensive capability. So if you chose to split the balloons, you would have to put the balloons further back. You couldn't just throw it at the bridge.
Yeah, the bridge
Which is
would be
cool.
useless.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I think it's more of a draw. It's a draw out a big spell kind of troop, and then you come out with.
That was my.
So like wall breakers, like, but almost like a juiced version of wall breakers.
Correct. The flying version.
I like the flying. I like making win conditions.
I feel like you need a little bit more flying decks.
It's a good idea. I like it.
Like that. And how much would it be?
6 elixir?
Yeah, 6
Oh,
elixir.
that much?
It's 6.
I was thinking like 4 elixir.
You think 4?
I was thinking more of 4 elixir, but like really reduce the damage of what it does. But it dies the fireball. You're making 6 elixir.
Well, that's the
unless
thing.
you split it.
That's the thing. You would pretty much always have to split it to get value.
You would
out of
always
it.
have to split it.
Like
you take negative elixir trades every time.
I think if you make it 6 elixir, it has to survive. It has to have like 1 health left on the fireball.
Okay, but it would be what I would say. Yeah, if you
that's a positive elixir trade every time.
If you do that, then it would have to be 1 at least, like kind of like the balloon, but 1 less shot than the balloon takes. So it'd have to be 1 crown tower shot, and then it goes.
Yeah.
And does it have the same effect like the balloon bomb?
What? It just
like a death damage.
Half of it. Half of it? Yes, half.
See, I would have gone even less.
You would go less, like 3/4 of it.
I think half of it would be okay.
Yeah,
because I don't think
half of it.
I don't think a lot of it would realistically reach the buildings in the first
you know
place.
What? You're probably
because
right.
if most people would fireball, and that's when you go in with your support troops after that. That's where flying machine becomes a lot more viable.
Yeah. Flying
and a lot of fireball bait cards become.
Yeah.
If you have fireball bait, that would become a huge.
But I think we can also agree that fireball is like hands down the best spell in the game.
I don't
even think it's close.
I would say for competitive purposes, I would say Rocket is.
Yeah, I would say Rocket.
Just because of the crown tower damage?
I would say Fireball and Rocket are hand in hand.
Yeah.
But I would say Rocket for the pros is definitely a better card to use. Unless you're playing like Goblin Drill, and there's certain decks that are Fireball's definitely better, but
so it gives
Rocket is what wins most games.
It gives
nowadays.
you another thing to use your big spell on.
Yes.
Which I think is good because then like you're right, you can play Flying Machine more and like more like I don't know. I feel like Flying Machine. Very few people use it, but the people who do use it know how to get the max value.
Right,
from
they
it.
draw out the fireball beforehand,
and then
play the
flying
machine.
Flying, essentially like a flying musketeer is sitting right there.
Yeah, I like that idea. I think it's a great
cool.
idea.
I was like, that's pretty neat.
All right, Jack Rabbit, would you like to share some more ideas? Oh, Jack Rabbit seems to be out of ideas, so we will go back to my next ideas. All right, for the next one, this one might be a little complicated, but this one is the Sludge Spell.
I've been dying to ask you this question about the Sludge Spell since we have talked about this idea.
Let's hear him out.
I'm very excited.
So I don't know if this concept would really work in the game, just like the spike trap. But I would compare it to more like an earthquake type of spell. But it's more like they get stuck in the mud for probably about 3 seconds.
Ooh, 3 seconds is a long time.
All right.
So I would say it's about 3 elixir. And I'm not sure if it would do any damage to the troops.
Okay.
All right.
Does flying troops get affected by it?
No, it's
No.
in the same aspect of an
Strictly
earthquake.
ground spell.
Yeah,
I like that idea because the earthquakes are the only spell.
Because you couldn't take it down like a poison, because that would just be the same thing. It would just slow them and poison them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, that's honestly a good idea because I feel like Logbait is the big banner right now, and you know what I mean. If you put it on your
And that's the
tower,
thing.
Yeah, you can like slow the goblin
slow
barrel down.
Or it can do enough damage too. But that's the thing. There's so many like it would just make goblins like obsolete. It would make if it did enough damage to destroy a goblin barrel. Sorry, if it could take that down, then it would be just really detrimental to a lot of goblin troops and a lot of
like swarmy stuff.
skeletons.
Yeah,
It would just
Skarmy.
Skarmy. Yeah, if it did, like I feel like Skarmy would have to die from that, and I feel like same thing with skeletons,
So it's gonna do
goblins,
damage, yeah.
sphere goblins. The goblins would take an additional hit, but it would just really slow everything down. And it's the same thing. You can goblin barrel and use it. It would affect the tower as well.
Like slow down the tower.
It would slow down the
Shooting
tower,
speed,
yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a different. I didn't
Alright.
think about that. That's different.
So Chili, I've been dying to ask you this question.
Go for it.
What deck do you think this card is going to be used in? Like, what strategy gets better with the opponent's troops slowing down?
I would say it would definitely affect Hog Rider decks.
Like, if you're using the Hog Rider.
You're using the Hog Rider, definitely log bait. And it could be it's tough to see. I don't know too many more decks, but mostly it's
So how would it be used in log bait decks? Slowing down the Princess Tower so it can't shoot the goblins?
it wouldn't, and I'm not too sure. It might do, if say theoretically it would do 100, maybe 150 damage to the actual tower itself. But the fact is like you're not relying on the damage that the spell does. You're relying on the damage that your troops do from the slowing down, and it would destroy skeleton army, skeletons, goblins. Any big tanks or anything like Valkyrie wouldn't do much damage to it all.
I feel like it shouldn't kill the
It would
goblins.
do more. It would maybe
I
not
feel like
actual
maybe
goblins, but
one-shot
but
the
spear goblins. Not actual
spear goblins have like less health, like a little bit less health than regular goblins. I'm pretty sure.
So what's the elixir cost for
The elixir cost would be 3 or 4. I'm not too
4.
sure because
4 seems expensive.
Yeah, 4
for that.
seems expensive.
it seems expensive, but it seems like it's more of a double elixir type of thing. Like it's more of a surprise factor, just like freeze would be if you would think about it. But 3, if it was 3, I could see it being broken. If you outcycle your opponent's log and you use that at the same time, you're gonna get a lot of damage if they can't attack your goblins. Same thing with your hog. Your hog would probably get 1 to 2 extra swings.
I don't think that would be broken because the user is committing elixir to slowing it down. Like if I'm playing log bait and I outcycle someone's log, he's gonna have an awkward counter for it regardless. The sludge spell would just be seen as another awkward counter. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I'm not too sure where this card would go. It's just an idea.
No, it's a good idea.
It is a good idea.
It'd have to be worked out and